guy. In 2008, Robert designed a fully recyclable package system known as the Banana Blinky. In 2010, Robert was awarded the Young Farmer of the Year. But for Robert, dumping of tons of beautiful fruit that were not suitable for the market wouldn't lead him to the next invention, turning waste into profits. This guy here also is his birthday is one day apart from Elvis Presley. So once he's finished his lines tonight, his presentation, he might even string a little bit of a song up for us. If you have a good look at him, he's got that little bit of a natural Elvis flick to his hair. So without ado, I'd like to welcome up to the stage, tell his story, Robert Watkins. Thank you.
Okay, it's been a few years, but evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Robert Watkins, and it's been 8 years since I saw most of you in Townsville. We've all got a little bit older, a little bit wiser, and in that time, my journey, our family's journey has been on an immense roller coaster of trial and success. And you know, like all of us here tonight, we've all been through those moments of, I suppose, heartache, but you keep fighting. And that's one thing I love about what the Project Catalyst, your whole institute of what you're doing is fantastic. I wish that was in the banana industry and other industries, because it's an example of coming together and celebrating yourselves. And it's a credit to yourselves, guys. So I'd like to have a toast to yourselves, because you're a great group of people. And before I start my splurge for the next 30 minutes, I want to try and keep you entertained. So if you've got a drink, have another sip. And we're about to get into it. So buckle your seats. So this is my presentation tonight. I've got a bit flasher than last time, a bit more relaxed. So nice few logos there for you, and actually outlining what I'm talking about tonight. I've got a nice remote this time. The casino at Townsville didn't have remotes. I don't think they knew what they were back then, but at least the Pullman International knows what a remote is for your PowerPoint. So we're off to a good start. So I looked up exactly what the Catalyst projects are about, because before I come and talk to you all, I like to understand what you're doing, and there's some amazing projects. I think it's a credit to yourselves, because in 8 years we've had people like Greta appear, we've had COVID, we've had all these other things appear that, you know, has sort of tried to put us back, but I think you're doing a fantastic job. We've had the Greens Party on a rise, and so much in the political chat, but what I know is what you guys are doing is fantastic. So I had a look at a few projects. There was one, I don't know if he's here tonight, I was a bit concerned about. I was worried about Brian. Is Brian here? Because this is all I got on Brian's project, this photo. But I hope he didn't get the raw end of the straws, you know, like, poor Brian, he got that, sorry, but did he get the bad end of the deal or something? He's like, Brian, all right, he's not here. Sorry, Brian, love you, mate. Okay, so what we started to focus on specifically in the last 10 years, 8 years, is farm waste. You would have seen it, and you would have seen it 100 times there in the media and stuff, but I can stand here tonight and say we pioneered it. So farm waste, back in when I spoke to you in the Catalyst, we were starting on this project of turning green bananas into powders, And it was at that stage so early because the hardest thing we had to do is invent and create a market. And let me tell you, you don't want to ever do that. It's really, really horrible. You're up against the world. But as a small team, family team, we stuck together. We created this market to supply what is now the most powerful prebiotic fibre for your gut health. So I'll get into that a little bit later. So what we had to do is identify the problem. So every farm has waste. Doesn't matter if you're a pumpkin grower, beetroot, bananas. We know the waste story. I don't have to bang on about it. But how do we turn our product into something that we can sell straight to the consumer? So the journey, we had to identify how we're going to take our green bananas on the farm and turn them into product to sell. In simple layman terms, we wanted to take what we had as waste, which was a significant problem, and transform it into product. We started this path of gluten-free and everything else, but fastly as that market grew, we're up against competition we just could not compete against. So accidentally, our biggest discovery was discovering that green banana powder had become now the most powerful prebiotic fibre on earth for gut health. So what we started to do was quickly steer ourselves into a position where we could sell it as this product that is not just good for your health, but it's extremely good for your gut, and it's a functional medicine, which was incredible. So we started to quickly turn that into that product. On the way, we had this journey. We had the idea, we had the concept to sell it, we had the machinery, the invention to peel green bananas, pulp skin, separate the green bananas, process this stuff into powder as fast as we can in 5 minutes. So I had this idea to create this drying system. I don't know, I didn't ever mention this, wasn't even on the radar at the last Catalyst discussion, but our biggest problem in Australia is drying. It's efficiency, it's the utility costs. Like you all out there are tonight, you know how we have to run things quicker, faster, more efficient. This is no different. Processing cannot be done any other way. One amazing thing is our factory runs with 4 staff units, and it does the same workload as 60 staff units. We had to invent that process, just like that cane harvester did, just the same stages it went through from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. So on the way on the journey, as you can imagine, I've gone to these fabrication firms in Australia and said, I've got this drying machine that we want to make. And I tell you now, it was impossible. It was kick in the guts. You're never going to be able to do it. So we'd go back to the drawing board. We can't do this thing. Do we give up? No, we can't give up. We've got this existing system that is there at the factory at Waterways, and we're going to keep going with it. But I was pushing for perfection, which is always a problem. You push for that moment, it can be make or break you, but it was the moment that was going to create a change we've never seen in agriculture, and that's that quantum leap. We needed that quantum leap moment. So in Australia, I just had a lot of trouble. So I actually knew a gentleman in Japan, went to Japan and discussed with him in my broken Japanese English, which is always fun if you want to learn broken Japanese English. But you've got to learn those things because that's the journey of it. I was lucky I was brought up in Chico Road where I learnt broken Italian and English. So when I convert to Japan, it was a little bit similar, a little bit different, but we got there. That's the whole point. So this photo was taken 3 years ago, south of Osaka, and it's the journey that I've had to take and the risk that I've had to take to reach where we want to be in today. So it means, 2 beautiful daughters, leaving the wife at home with the baby, all those sort of stories. As you can see, I'm just in a photo by myself. And I brought my wife here tonight. So I took these this photo on the right because it's a little bit symbolic to me, the photo on the right. It's my old friend Akata in Japan, and he's 67 and he's not as well as he should be, but a brilliant mind that has brilliant passion as well in Japan. A brilliant man in stainless steel fabrication. Stainless steel fabrication is very difficult. And I went to Japan for the reason to create the greatest drying system on earth. So we started with prototypes in Japan. We nicknamed them in our sick sense of humour Frankenstein because we took bits and pieces of everything. You gentlemen and ladies here know tonight, we've all done that with farm machinery. So I can imagine you've got Frankenstein sitting in your shed, but it's kind of cool because Frankenstein is bits and pieces of everything. So we started with prototypes, in 2 prototypes in 2 years over there, which we funded, and then COVID came, the wretched COVID came, which was a setback to us because we're on the point of perfecting this and I couldn't get back. So I literally had to then build my own Frankenstein at home, test it, send the information back for the final model. We then got to this stage, which is current photos of our current blade drying system. So what was starting to become our problem in the banana industry was becoming the problem for the beetroot growers, the broccoli, the cauliflower, the carrot, mushrooms, you name it, we got thrown it. And I give credit to ourselves today. I can put my hand on my heart and say we've had many horticultural groups come to us for help. They said, not even CSIRO can do what you've done. Can you try and take or have a look at our waste streams? We said, sure, because, over the years we had government assistance. So I always thought, because we had government assistance, I should do a good turn and we should do a good turn and return that back to the horticultural industry by supplying these work trials for free, because it's just our little bit of a good turn. So, you get to meet some people over those years and the phone starts ringing and you kind of wish it didn't ring so much and you kind of wish someone didn't say, can you dry some weird thing and all that, but we take it on and we do it. So after 3 prototypes, we get to our final machine, which is the blade dry machine. It's a fully continuous drying procedure for taking products from 90% moisture down to 6% moisture in a single pass. And it'll do products between 100 to 200 kilos an hour. And that was all done, and that's all 316, 304 stainless steel, runs 420 stainless steel blade systems, and it's compact. It chews about 1/10 of the energy of conventional mass drying. So we're using wind velocity. It's cheaper to make wind than heat. So we actually took that in that journey. It was 2 years ago. And then we named it blade dry because it runs a blade system. Obviously, when you take wet material, and it's very sticky. So when you're trying to dry it, it starts to stick to itself and make bigger things. So we use the blade mechanism as an agitation device to break up the material and dry it. I'm sorry if that's a bit boring. Is that all right, guys? You're all there still? You're all still there? I've got you. I still got you. Just no one's fallen asleep. Check, 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 check. All good. All right, done. So what was amazing was discovering wind. Wind velocity varies, obviously, in humidities and stuff, but if the more wind velocity we can manufacture in a fan capacity, but then control in a chamber without being too much of an engineer or smarty pants, because that's not who I am, it enhances drying capability with agitation. So if you could keep agitating that product, it dries a lot quicker. And so that we broke through to these areas where you are $2 to $4 a kilo to dry material, which is pretty remarkable. So we started to then perfect our blade dry system, and we had, again, especially the last 12 months, a lot of people come in saying, we've tried this, we've tried that, we've been down this path for 20 years, 30 years. I said, well, let us have a chance and an opportunity to assess. Give me an opportunity to have a go at what your problem is. So a lot of people go, what the hell do you turn your green banana powder into? I've never seen it, never heard of it. Very strong out there in the Australian market in our Gut Health Plus products. So I think what we had to do is, as farmers, you're reliant, in horticulture, you're reliant on a merchant or an agent to then sell it into Woolworths and Coles. We had to quickly become our own merchant. So we developed a brand, Gut Health Plus, which, because the product is so good for your gut health and it's scientifically evidence-based. So what was amazing is all of a sudden these waste green bananas and waste gold sweet potato were becoming our flagship of gut health supplements. So all of a sudden we had our out-of-specification produce turning into complementary medicine. And that's a big word. It's pretty hard to absorb, but that's actually what we've had to do to make this grow and survive. So all horticultural products have these elements unique to themselves. So you can't have the broccoli arguing with the green banana, I'm better for your gut health, because the green banana is going to say, get bent, I'm better for your gut health. You're just greens, you know? So every horticultural product has its own special power. That's what we've discovered in the last 3 years. So anything that's good for human gut health goes on to equines, horses, dogs, cats, I don't know, whatever pets you've got, but it's great for us all. So we had to then start marketing ourselves, our brand of products into the consumer market, online, distribution, and so forth. We've tried to do as much as we can internally online and offer, because people go, how the hell do you sell stuff all the way from cans into the... We offer we do offer exclusive offers and stuff to do our best to get the consumers to support us rather than going into the shops. But a lot of people like to go to their health food shops, and that's fine. We just have to go with the flow at the moment with that. So a lot of people, we sell in co-brand as well. In Woolworths, it'll be under green banana flour. In Coles, it'll be under red tractor green banana multi-fibre. There's only one person on this planet, people, company, that's ourselves, that manufactures product. It's unique to us because of our process, our dedication to innovation in the last 4 years. And you know, when you see other people trying to adapt the product into major retail, which is Woolworths and Coles, it's a plus, but it's not actually the ultimate nirvana. It just helps kick us along a bit until we get to where we really need to get to. So along the way, uniqueness attracts unique market opportunity. So these two products are in Japan. Japan's been that's where my sort of relationship came back to Japan, because they're searching for that next big thing. They're searching for that, what's that next health kick? Two of these products, one is the Sahi in Japan, very, very big. Along came COVID and, you know, don't know why it did, but it creates a stumbling block to get to the next chapters. But what we learn is you start building those relationships. They're very hard to build, but if you're dedicated to them, I remember Krista and a couple of the family members are like, Rob, just effing drop these Japan. I just can't handle this shit. Yeah, you come into the, you know, and you sit in with the family, and go, what the, I just can't handle this shit. What's this emails? And I said, no, we've got to be patient, you know. We've got to be patient because the opportunity is Australia has so much significant waste. It is a life journey to get to these chapters. So this is a little bit boring, but I thought I'd throw it in there. So it's about excess produce, oversupply, resolution, and final outcome. I always love when people go, oh, I've got all this stuff, I can't be bothered, and I'll just chuck it out the back for the cows. That's fine, but there's actually, these products are turning into functional ingredients. They're becoming complementary medicine. If you take a pumpkin from a ratio of 12:1 and compress it, you're concentrating what it originally was, or a sweet potato. So it's becoming quickly a complementary medicine in the basis of its elements that it has, be it beta-carotene, be it vitamin B5, B6. So everything we grow is technically a mine. And that's what I want to share tonight. It's a mine. We have this vast space, be it this dance floor, which some of you might get on later, but this dance floor, you're growing that many squares of product. You then concentrate it and dry it down to 2 squares of product. The pharmaceutical and nutraceutical market take those 2 squares and they turn them into a golf ball. And that's where the big money is after that process. So that's your nutraceuticals. Some of the products are used in up to thousands and thousands of different medicines. It's unbelievable what plant phytonutrients turn into. So over the years, we've done mushrooms, we've done cauliflower. I like the mushroom stalk project because we were asked by Exodus and Horde Innovation a few years back to assess mushrooms. And I said, so I think, another trip on our own back, went down to the mushroom sheds. And I was watching the mushroom, and this is why I always say there's an opportunity. I was watching the ladies picking the mushrooms. Ladies, I'd say, because there's all ladies in the shed, but maybe there's some men there, but they all look like ladies, so unless you're a Greens Party supporter, it might be different, but am I allowed to say that? You guys wake you up a bit? All right. So I was watching them pick. So they're picking the mushroom, and then I said they're cutting this base off, and it drops into the bucket. And all of a sudden, because I've been on this journey, I said, what's that? Why are they cutting that? No, that's the stalk. I said, well, what's that represent in the whole mushroom growth? So we weighed that it was 50%. So the mushroom head's 5 grams, the stalk's 5 grams. I said, what do you do with the stalk? And they said, we just throw it out the back. It goes into the mulch. We compost it, and it goes back into the mushroom sheds after 3 or 4 months. I said, okay, so can we just cut it and then cut the base off, which on the mushrooms is quite an alien thing. It's got this little bit of a peaty, rough bum on it. So we cut that off. So all of a sudden, we turn mushroom stalk into this amazing mushroom powder that they never had an income for. So that's still on the card. So over the years has become an amazing journey with all these other products. And it was only because of this drying machine that we had come up with that we were able to dry these products very, very quickly and effectively with one staff unit. So literally your packing shed on any farm can have this machine functioning with one staff member. So what we did is, what the whole process of what we're working on now and what has become our major success point, we're not complicating farmers' existing process. I mean, I'm very blessed to be born and bred on the farm. I'm very blessed to have learnt from the ground up, because even though I've got this jacket on for you guys tonight, if I take that off, but I wore it for you fellas and ladies tonight. Because you're in Cairns, it's got the marlin on it and all that sort of stuff. But I'm very lucky to be brought up on the farms, because what happens is, what makes us resilient and tough is a lot of these other companies said, how the hell has this prick in North Queensland come up with this machine? We've had $50 million in funding, we can't come up with this thing. It's because you guys are not practical. I hear a laugh, the guys laugh. They're not practical. I mean, they've never had to work on a tractor, grease a set of discs, grease a universal shaft with all the shitty covers on it. They've never had to. I mean, who's the idiot that invented the PDO cover? I mean, you should be sent straight to hell. Like, for frig's sake, don't put plastic over PDO shaft. Put it over the shaft, but make sure you can grease the prick. There's a shitty bit of chain. I mean, a shitty bit of chain that goes around that snaps off because a bit of cane stalk goes up and hits it, or a banana thing. I mean, we are great because we are practical. Practical cannot be taught in a classroom. It's given to you as your journey on the farm. And that is what I will take away in my journey on being in the farm, is keep things practical, and that's the best thing we do. So the ability in food products is endless. I mean, if we had an endless check bank account, we'd say, oh, here's someone to go into that. The government have people doing that, but it seems to be just on an endless circle of repeat. So things might change this year when we get really, really going with what we're doing. Business case, it's a bit boring. I mean, it's just like blah, blah, blah. I've told you guys that products that are a little bit damaged, I mean, we had broccoli come to us that were sent from southwest Queensland that had a hailstorm. The broccoli was slightly bruised on the floret. They sent them to us within 2 days. I mean, it's crap sending it all the way to North Queensland because of the freight. But what we proved was the broccoli after hail was still okay. We processed it into green broccoli powder very, very easily. So if it was down at the facility in the southeast, you can process freshly, constantly, 24 hours a day. There's no problem. So that was the biggest point of developing the dryer, as something that is quick to clean, keeping it practical. We all hate cleaning crap, which I know we all do. But when you get something messy come through, you want it to be easy to clean. So you want to be able to hit it with the gurney, chuck on the CT18 and into it. That's what we did. We kept the focus in food processing. That's what's created a bit of a disruption in the food processing engineers world, is because we've kept things so simple. They can't comprehend how something can run so easily, simply. So that's basically been the whole outcome of where we've gone in the last 8 years. If there's any questions tonight, I'm happy to take a few questions, because I've enjoyed being here, and I'd like to thank you for having me again. And if you need a few jokes on political parties, I'm happy to have a few with you. If you want a couple, I can have a couple. So last week, my dad said to me, son, you know, you had an opportunity, you're very good at what you do, you have this passion for agriculture, you would have been the perfect National Partyman, you know, you speak well, you know, people would listen to you. But he goes, I feel really unhappy about the way the political parties have gone the last 20 years. I said, yeah, you're right, Dad. And he said, you know, we actually went to the National Party, LNP, and we said, look, the only way for us to become successful or have a democracy is the National Party detached from the Liberals. They said, oh, Bruce, you're kidding yourself, never going to happen now. They go, we've made it actually a legislation that the National Party will never, ever in Queensland be broken away with the Libs. And he goes, well, kiss it goodbye. So Dad goes, there you go, son. He goes, because Dad's our National Party champion, hands out from when he can, but now it's LNP. And he goes, mate, they are breeding them quicker than we are making them. Said, can you please elaborate, Dad? He goes, can you imagine they are breeding them so fast that we don't have a democracy anymore because they're making them. They're making the photos. I said, oh, Dad, come on. What's the crunch of it? He goes, can you imagine being the doctor these days delivering the babies? I said, what are you getting at? He goes, come on, John, push. Oh, beautiful little Greens baby. So that's what I've got to deal with. Anyway, have a lovely night. Lovely to be here. See ya.
Well, he's not so nervous anymore, is he? How about we just give him one more round of applause? That was excellent. I can see he can relate to us.